And hello YouTube, this is Andrew the Red. I haven't made a video in quite a long time, but I'm at a new apartment and moving in and pretty busy at school now that my proposal is done, and now I'm on my own, so I don't have to do any more coursework or anything like that, so now I have a lot more time. This is just in this video I'm going to show you, just going to walk around the apartment a bit and show you where all the books are, and just some regular stuff on the apartment. So here's my dining room. If you remember that little temperature thing, there it is there now. Just in the middle there is a centerpiece. I've got a painting up there that a colleague gave to me. Here's some of the other stuff that used to be on the bookcases. Some of the board games I have. Pathfinders is not my game, but it's being kept here because it's where we play it every now and then. Here's the computer area. All those books there are going to be, I'm going to do pretty soon in another video on new books for February and March. And there's also some books there that I read, I finished reading, so I'll do those as well. Right now I'm I'm doing a program with the Ayn Rand Institute, and so we've been reading a lot of Aristotle. So there's my really nice Aristotle book, The Basic Works of Aristotle. And we've been doing a little bit of writing and things like that, so we're going through her Art of Nonfiction, which has a lot of good tips on style and organization and all that, outlining your material. Some of the notes I was making on the Aristotle passage we were writing. And here's some of the random bookcase stuff. I've got it kind of moved around. Not everything's on bookcases anymore, so there's that pirate ship and there's that wizard. So now we're going to get into some of the books. They're all the books, or most of the books. There's my philosophy, History of Philosophy by Copplestone. I've got that sitting right there on my desk, and then here's some of my bookcases. So you got at the bottom psychology. There's some art books down there. In the corner of the TV desk there is religion and my Xbox games, old Xbox games. Science, culture, politics, biography, and political philosophy. And up there is either outlines or histories of philosophy, and there's some moral philosophy right there, and you can see some of the bookcase objects throughout as where they are. There's some the Xbox is there, TV. Down there are giant books, giant survey books, so books on great empires, books on explorers, English literature. There's a New York Times Guide to Essential Knowledge. On the other side of it is poetry and plays and Shakespeare. And then here's this New York Times thing. I should put it back over here. The very bottom down there is stuff on education. More on education because that's my area. Now we're into literature in reverse chronological order. So Rand, etc., Steinbeck, Kipling, Dracula, Jack London's, Tolstoy, George Eliot, Dostoevsky, Dumas, Jane Austen, etc., into the Greeks, right? And then a few books in here are on literature, the study of literature. And then up here I've got fantasy and science fiction. And then at the very top, children's literature. Now, I guess I should have said that these two bookcases, and there's one more bookcase, are the best of that I have. Down here is modern fiction. I'm going to put a floating shelf up, which means it's just on the wall, and that's where that stuff's going to go. So this stuff I'm showing you is the best stuff, but I have more stuff elsewhere. So up here is philosophy. So I've got, I think, Aristotle's supposed to be right there. That's why there's a big gap right there. So I've got, I think, the best of philosophy up here. Socrates, Plato, Marcus Aurelius, Augustine, St. Thomas Aquinas, although I'd like another book by St. Thomas Aquinas because I've only got that little yellow one there. Erasmus, Emerson and Erasmus are not really philosophers, but they're influential. Spinoza, the empiricists, Locke, Berkeley, and Hume, although I've heard Berkeley called Barclay, Bishop Barclay. Immanuel Kant, Hegel, Nietzsche. We've got quite a few Nietzsche there. We've got all basically his stuff there. There's Zarathustra, and then these two have all of his stuff, which is the portable I think it's called the Portable Nietzsche, something like that, and then the Basic Writings of Nietzsche. There's William James, so this is pragmatism in here. There's pragmatic philosophy. There's more Russell, Derrida, a book on existentialism, and then some Rand, and then some Eastern. So we've got Sun Tzu, Confucius, and then the Japanese version of The Art of War is this one. Okay, into now history, all chronologically. So ancient Greece to Rome to medieval to this is explorers, and then here's the U.S. history. And notice I have stuff in the back too, so I kind of have the good stuff out front and some stuff behind it. There's American history, some France in there, Germany, Russia, Middle East, and Eastern. And down here is war history. Over here is there's a couple books on there about 9/11, but then also British history and Canadian war history. And then economics is down here. And business history or economic history of the economy of different places. And then down here is historical, like history books that do a great span of time. So you've got Will Durant's Story of Civilization series here. That's all of them. And then a few other ones like History of the World. That's that orange one there. That's a penguin. There's Barzan's book, Dawn of Decadence, and etc. The Outline of History by H.G. Wells. You might not know that H.G. Wells, science fiction writer, he also wrote history. And there's an Outline of History, Volume 1, and Volume 2 is behind it. Okay. And I'll show you how that one painting that I had in my room is now up here on the wall. And now we will venture. This is by the door, this bookcase. It's got history. It's got all the extras. So this is the stuff I don't think is good enough to have out. You got history, more history, fiction, children's fiction at the bottom, and then some economic books at the bottom and economic history. And into the bedroom, I've got some more stuff here. Education books, educational philosophy is up there. John Dewey, a little bit over there. And then you've got philosophy, so more Aristotle, more of everything really. More Aristotle. Maybe I'll put the little light on here. There we go. Now you can see. More, and then I got lots of Rand in here. All my extra Rand stuff. So lots of extra copies of The Fountainhead, and there's a really neat hardcover, old hardcover of The Fountainhead, and some criticism of Rand. That orange book. That orange book is a bit of criticism, and then down here some science history. And the last shelf is over here in the other corner of the room, and it has the rest of my psychology, biology, science. There's some biography in there, and a lot of education, because I have a lot of those kinds of books, psychology, textbooks, or critiques of education, and politics, and random stuff in there, foreign policy, politics, art, some computer game books, and some culture and all that. So that's where my stuff is in my new apartment.